Welcome to Tea and Talk, a self-development podcast for Wifehood. Tea and Talk is dedicated to helping married Black women deconstruct the barriers holding her back in life and marriage, reconstruct a stronger and solid foundation for growth and development, and put those things into action to step into wifehood wiser and more confidently. With over 9 years in the wifehood game, I hope to spread my knowledge from my experiences and give you more clarity and skills so we can all go out and smash it in wifehood. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss anything Tea and Talk. Grab a notebook, a pen, and your favorite mug and sit back and sip this tea with me as we get into it on this episode of Tea and Talk. Hey sweeties! Thanks for joining me on another episode of Tea and Talk. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thanks for rocking with me. I know you've heard of the saying, communication in relationships is everything. And I agree with this 110%. Communication in marriage is so important to sustain a healthy marriage. Communication avoids guesswork between husband and wife and helps each individual get to learn even more about each other, thereby continuing to grow and show strength in marriage. The issues I've observed in marriages, as well as experienced myself, is that people stop at a certain point in the conversation and won't go the extra step to say it all. Things that seem out of our comfort zones, we avoid passing that threshold either to avoid judgment from our husbands, lack of skills to communicate what it is we are trying to say, or because of discomfort within ourselves. Topics such as intimacy, fantasies, finances, for example, are usually those taboo topics we refuse to further discuss. When we transition to wifehood, we are saying we are adult enough to take these responsibilities on and have those tough conversations. Of course, they aren't comfortable or glamorous, but a major step to getting to the comfortability and glamour of your marriage. I can assure you, ignoring the issues will be the downfall of your marriage and often make you feel alone in the marriage. Those issues you ignore will stay stuck in your brain, never to be discussed or disputed with your husband. Don't let this happen to you and weigh on you, causing you to slip in your role of the marriage. For me, I would allow all the issues to build up over time, keeping track of each one I wanted to discuss, and then waited for the perfect time to unleash it all at once. This technique doesn't work for many reasons. One, you create an environment in which your husband feels attacked and uncomfortable, which will decrease his chances of hearing you, opening up, or thinking of a resolution. Also, if something is bothering you, waiting days, weeks, or even months defeats the purpose of it all. You let something ruminate, which may make it worse on you because you haven't expressed it, which creates an environment of chaos. Here are some tips to think about before you take the steps to having the difficult conversation. Tip number 1. Set an expectation for the conversation. What are you expecting to get from the conversation? Are you expecting a resolution or a compromise? When you clarify your expectations, it can decrease strife during the conversation because you already have a destination in sight. Tip number 2, identify your motive. Are you having this conversation just to prove a point? Is this only to prove you are right? Be mindful of the reasoning behind the conversation and make sure the motivation behind it is for the betterment of you and your husband and not for selfish gain. Tip number 3, avoid starting by saying we need to talk. This will automatically put your husband on the defense to think the worst before you even get into the meat and potatoes. Instead, start by saying something like, I've been thinking about this, or I wanted to get your feedback and input on this. These starters lighten the conversation and will help better put your husband's mind at ease versus the latter. Tip number 4, set the right time and place. Don't pick when things are stressful to then inject this difficult conversation into the stress. Pick a place and time when you and your husband will feel comfortable, whether that be date night, pillow talk, etc. So, what are some examples of those difficult conversations, and how do you overcome that discomfort? Let's get into it. 1. Sex. Avoiding speaking about your wants, needs, and desires in the bedroom makes the topic taboo and stunts longevity and what could be a great connection. What are your wants? What are your needs? What are your turn-ons and turn-offs? What are your fantasies? Make the environment for which you are having this conversation comfortable for the both of you, whether that be before sex, after sex, pillow talk, date night. Make sure each individual is open to having the conversation by setting the scene. 2, another biggie, finance compatibility. This is when you are making sure both you and your husband are on the same page when it comes to finances. In some relationships, you have one partner that likes to spend, while the other may like to save, or you may have someone who likes to invest and having someone else who likes to spend. Speaking about the financial goals with your husband is going to set the tone and get you both on the same page, which helps avoid surprises. What's each of your attitude towards money? How do you prioritize it? It is never too soon to discuss this, and I mean even before I do. But this is something you can discuss with your husband on date night, during income tax time, when you're planning a vacation. Again, make sure both are feeling comfortable when having the conversation. Number 3, the morbid stuff. Although this is the most unglamorous topic, it is definitely necessary. You want to be able to honor the wishes of your spouse for when that time comes. You don't want to have to guess or fumble after the fact. Bringing this up can be difficult to time, but make sure both you and your husband are ready and open to discuss. And number 4, past traumas. There may be a time where you are triggered and you may not know how to talk about it at that time with your husband. Prepping him ahead of time will help him better understand and better be able to help you when you are triggered. Be naked with your husband with this because it helps him learn more about you and better understand you. So, although it may seem far reach and like you have to build up the courage to get to the point to have some of these conversations, it isn't impossible. Communicate often because the more you do, the easier it will be. Practice makes perfect. I hope this episode of Tea and Talk has helped you gain a bit more clarity and find a piece of what you have been missing to step out into the world as a new, purposeful, and authentic version of you to be able to smash it at Wifehood. Never miss anything Tea and Talk. Click the link in the description to sign up for the email list. I love hearing from each and every one of you, so don't be shy, comment below. I can't wait to hear from you all. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, sweeties, love and light.